In the previous section, we learned what is a VPN, its benefits, and how to connect to it before connecting to the Tor network. This was very easy, as all we had to do is download the client that's compatible with our operating system. Most VPN providers offer a Linux client, and Tails is a Linux distro. Unfortunately though, normal Linux clients will not work with Tails because of the restrictions that Tails apply on the network connections. Therefore, connecting to a VPN from Tails can be a bit tricky, and that's why I want to spend this lecture and the next lecture showing you how to connect to a VPN from Tails. Now keep in mind, you don't have to use a VPN with Tails. This is an optional step, and there is a big debate whether you should use a VPN or not with Tails. Because as we know, Tails automatically forces all traffic to go through Tor, so by default, it is more anonymous and more private than normal operating systems. So skip this lecture and the next lecture if you don't want to use a VPN, and only watch it if you actually do want to use a VPN with Tails. Now, just a quick recap. As we learned before, usually when you access a server or anything on the internet, you send the request directly to that server. When you use a VPN, you create an encrypted tunnel to the VPN server. So if you're trying to go to google.com, only the VPN knows that you're going to google.com. The traffic between you and the VPN will be fully encrypted, so it's useless to anybody that intercepts it. And then once the VPN gets the request, it'll forward it to the actual server that you need to go to, for example, google.com. Now, this doesn't have to be google.com. It can be any website or any server or on the internet, or you can even send that request to the Tor network and access a darknet or a hidden service within the network, or go to the internet after that, again improving your privacy and anonymity. Now, because of the way the data is sent in here in an encrypted manner, this adds an extra layer of encryption. Therefore, it improves your privacy and anonymity. If your data gets intercepted by hackers or by your network admin or by your internet service provider, it'll be gibberish, it'll be useless, so they won't be able to stop you or prevent you from accessing websites, and they won't be able to gather information about you. So it'll allow you to bypass censorship, protect you from hackers, and so on. Now, if you want to go over this in more details, please revise my lecture on VPN in the previous section. This is just a quick recap. Like I said, in that lecture, we connected to a VPN easily using a client that is made for our operating system. The problem that we have now is the fact that we are using Tails, because most VPN providers do not support Tails. So, going back to how Tails work, as we know, it forces all traffic from our computer to go through the Tor network. So if we have a VPN provider, even if we have a proper subscription with them and we try to connect to them, we won't be able to connect to it because the operating system is forcing all traffic to go through the Tor network. Therefore, we need to first configure the firewall in Tails to redirect all data to the VPN provider instead of redirecting it to the Tor network. So we'll configure it to redirect all data through the VPN provider, and then from the VPN provider, data is going to go to the Tor network. It'll bounce over the 3 nodes and either access a hidden service within the Tor network or go to a website on the internet. Now, if your VPN provider has a Tails client, then you will not need to manually do this. The client will do everything for you. The only problem is most VPN providers do not support Tails, so you'll have to do a bit of research to find the ones that support it. As you may already know, we actually have our own VPN service, ZSVPN, and we support Tails. So let me show you how the client would work just as an example. So all you have to do is literally download it from the downloads page in here. I'll actually include a link to this in the resources in case you want to get more information. All you will need to do is simply download the client. And as you can see, I already have it downloaded in here in my persistent downloads. It's called ZSVPN. And I'm just going to run it like so, // followed by the file name. It's going to ask me what do I want to do. I'm going to say I want to connect. It'll ask me for the username and the password. Then it'll list all the servers available to me. So all I have to do right now is select the server that I want to connect to. For example, let's say I wanted to connect to Mexico 189. So I'm just going to type 189, hit enter. As you can see, it'll automatically configure the VPN settings. It'll automatically configure the firewall. So I'm just going to put my password now, the system password, the root password. And again, it'll automatically download OpenVPN if it's not downloaded, and it'll connect to the server that I selected. So as you can see right here, it's saying that I'm connected to Mexico. And that's it. Now we're ready to go and browse the internet. To confirm this, I'm going to go and run my Tor browser. And I'm just going to go to check.torproject.org. And perfect. As you can see, it's telling us that my browser right now is configured to use the Tor browser. So right now what's happening is we're connecting to the VPN first, and then our traffic is routed to the Tor network. And then, like I said, we can bounce through 3 nodes and then go to the internet, or stay within the Tor network and access Onion hidden services. Now, going back to the client, you can put number 1 if you want to connect again, number 2 to disconnect, 3 to reset the firewall settings so you're directly connected to Tor and you're not using the VPN, and 4 to simply quit the client. So as you can see, it's very easy if your VPN provider supports Tails. If your VPN provider does not support Tails, then you'll have to manually modify the firewall settings so that it allows you to connect to the VPN, and manually use the VPN settings to connect to the VPN server. This is a little bit technical and requires a little bit of Linux knowledge, but don't worry about it. I will walk you through it step by step in the next lecture.